There's an old saying that goes something along the lines of, behind every great man there has to be a great woman. Well, in MotoGP, it's more like behind every legendary rider there has to be an incredible team. Valentino Rossi, Mick Doohan, Sete Gibano and Daryl Beattie all have one thing, or should we say, one man in common. Are you all finished?
Hey, Amy, you're all done. Ready for you. You want to go for a ride?
I'd love to. I think this is a little bit too big for you.
No, that's okay.
Has your job changed much over the years? I mean, even in terms of how the technology has progressed in MotoGP.
Yeah, but it's gradual. It's so gradual that you almost don't realise it's changed. But when you look back, even the bikes every year. So when you look back at the very beginning, I mean, we used to work in jeans and a T-shirt until almost race day. And race day, we still wore just T-shirts. I remember the rule came in that you had to wear a shirt with a collar, you know.
What year was that?
Oh, man. 90, 95, 6, something like that, you know, somewhere around. Yeah, and we used to have a truck out the back, one's semi-trailer, the other one was just like a Pantec, just a short, rigid truck. And then we had a motorhome that the Japanese had their computers in, just like a motorhome you'd take on a family trip, you know. So, and then I remember a rule came in and said all teams have to have semi-trailers, no more little, you know, to present a better image.
Do you remember your first day in the paddock?
Yeah, I do. I remember my very first day. My very first day, I went to Phillip Island. JB had rung me. He said, okay, you've got the job sort of thing, and you come to Phillip Island. And okay, so we're doing a tyre test. That was in end of 92. And that guy, Patrick, the tyre guy that I spoke about before, my very, very first job, I'd worked in motocross before that and never worked in road racing. My very first job was go down to the end, or just under the start-finish line at Phillip Island, and hold the bike when Mick comes around. And I think, when Daryl and Mick came around, and we want to check the tyre temperature like immediately, you know, we want to see, because it was really harsh on tyres. And so I'm standing there with Patrick. I'd never been to a road race test or anything before. I'm like this close to the pit wall, and the first time they came round out of the last corner and down the straight, I remember just going, and I literally forgot to breathe. I just went, Jesus, you know, this is like, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe how fast they went.
And now, who do you get asked more about, Mick or Valentino?
Oh, it was Valentino, yeah. I mean, the single most often question that's asked of me anywhere has always been the same question: what's he like? Mostly I say the same thing. I say if he was your kid and he didn't ride a motorcycle and he wasn't any good at riding motorbikes, you'd still be super proud of him.
That's really nice.
I mean, he's a great guy, and pretty much I say to him, how you see him on TV, from my experience, is 99% how he actually is.
And was that your first impression? The first day you worked with him, was that the first impression you had of him?
Well, I didn't really know him, but he was pretty down to earth, pretty normal, and by the end of the very first test, he knew where I lived. I guess he knew my wife, and a few things, like straight away. Some riders can go years. You'll talk to other guys in the paddocks and they said, I worked for that guy for 10 years and he never remembered my name.
No way.
And you go, oh, geez, you know. And not this guy, not Valentino.
2015, obviously it was a difficult year for Valentino, but we always say MotoGP is a team sport, and anything that those guys feel out there on track or experience out there on track is definitely felt back here in the team.
Yeah.
How did that impact you at the end of that year?
It was horrible, you know, it was horrible because we had been basically leading the championship. I mean, if you look at the championship from even before that championship started, we were leading. If you took a group of races, of 18 races, any time for almost I can't remember since Japan the year before, from that point onwards, any 18 races and we would have won the championship. Turned out we didn't, you know. So yeah, to have it taken right at the end is hard on everyone, you know. And you feel for him the most. Yeah. I always feel less disappointed for me as I feel disappointed for the rider. Yeah, you see what they put in. I mean, everyone puts in, you know, but you're doing it to help him achieve his goal. I mean, I know the grand thing is you're working for Yamaha, but if I work for him as hard as I can, then in effect I am working for Yamaha. So it's horrible to see it not happen, you know. It's the way it goes. It's racing.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you.
My pleasure.